I'm actually going to start off this video makeup free because the face that you see before you is a perfect metaphor for social media. This is kind of representative of my life. It's not perfect, but it's unique, it's my own. And what we tend to do with social media is we determine that this real life is not good enough as it is. And so we start putting things over the top in order to cover up our imperfections and our insecurities. We start highlighting the parts of ourselves that are deemed aesthetic, beautiful, appropriate to showcase to a modern society, and those parts of us that are sort of deemed too much or a little bit of a risk in order to be exposed to the world. We hide those bits away. And I'm sure everyone has heard of this idea of social media being like a highlight reel. What we tend to do is we see other people's perfect skin and bodies and faces and clothes and relationships and lives and children and all of these things displayed for the world as if they were real life, 24/7, your mundane, your everyday sort of run-of-the-mill day. We start comparing subconsciously and thinking that our existence, our lives, our looks, our wardrobe, the money that we earn, the jobs that we work is just not quite good enough to be shown to the rest of society. So that can spin you straight away into a bit of a depressive cycle, or it can prompt you to start making unhealthy changes to yourself and your life in order to kind of fit the mold and be socially accepted and to look the part. And I don't think either of these strategies are, you know, really long lasting or healthy for us. And I'm sure that we all know this. We know that on the one hand, social media can be this place of creativity and inspiration, but if left unchecked and unmanaged, which a lot of the time it is, and a lot of the time we are so unaware of its effects because they happen so slowly and so gradually that before we even know it, we're kind of caught in this little cycle, and that's where I found myself. So I decided to quit social media for the period of 5 months. I didn't necessarily have a time limit on it. I just wanted to see how I was feeling. So this is in November of 2020, and I was finding myself really disillusioned by my whole social media experience, particularly Instagram. I found myself being really addicted to Instagram, and we don't really think about this that often because we just have like fun on these social media platforms, and we don't really think about how they are constructed. But really, there's not just like one guy sitting behind the desk of, you know, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, all of these different places. It's a whole team of people who spend a lot of time and money into the construction of these platforms so that they are highly addictive. And they are competing essentially for our time, for our attention, and ultimately for our money as well. So I found myself really addicted, which was kind of Instagram's goal in the first place. And I found myself sort of creeping into this negative spiral of constantly like going on the explore page, liking every single picture, liking and commenting on every single picture within my feed. I was desperate, pretty much to get any sort of engagement, desperate to grow my following, desperate to sort of see what was out there in terms of what other people were creating. So I was on there like a considerable amount per day, and I was putting a lot of time and effort into it. I was posting pictures every single day, and just content that like sort of lacked life and lacked any kind of meaning or heart to it. It wasn't necessarily about sharing, you know, some things that were like happy moments within my life, or sharing really anything other than content for the sake of sharing content. And so end of November, I'm like, nah, this really can't happen. I've got to make a change. How about at the start of the new year, I go on a little bit of a social media detox and just cut it out of my life, see how it makes me feel, see how it like changes my life. And I was like, yep, okay, I'm gonna do that. And then I thought, well, it's the end of November, I've still got all of the month of December. Should I wait another month in order to sort of make these changes in my life? Why don't I just do it now? And it seems just so silly looking back at it, but I really just did have these warped views of myself and my life where, oh my gosh, if I like go off social media for 5 months, like what's gonna happen? Like I'll just become completely insignificant and meaningless to everyone. And you know, how am I gonna get anyone to watch my YouTube videos if I don't have consistent content going up on Instagram? And I'm just like embarrassed to even admit that I was thinking that now, because like that's just so self-righteous and self-important of me to think that way. But I think it was because my mindset was so warped at this period, and I was just kind of so caught up in the obsession of it that I wasn't really seeing clearly. I mean, at the end of the day, no one really cares that much whether I put a picture up on Instagram or whether I write a status on Facebook or pin things on Pinterest. It's actually just not even that important in life. And I'm so embarrassed that I even put such like significance and priority into such an insignificant like realm of existence, but I'm sure that we all do. And you know, that's just part of the learning process and part of that, I guess it's kind of like a subconscious healing and like moving away from the addiction. So I cut the cord, and on the 1st of December, I deleted my Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest apps. I didn't actually delete the accounts because I wasn't sure at that point like whether I'd come back to them or not. I just wanted to have the accounts there as an option in case I wanted to come back to them later on. But I deleted the apps from my phone, and that's when kind of like my journey of breaking the tech addiction cycle sort of began. So admittedly, it was pretty hard at first, which is just, I guess, part of that thing where you don't realize how hooked you actually are and how much it is such a subconscious thing that we are addicted without even realizing it. And like there were times where I actually was thinking about re-downloading those apps and just getting back onto it, but I just thought, well, what's my motivation for doing that? And it kind of came down to FOMO, feeling like because I wasn't like part of the loop or whatever, that I was somehow missing out. But really I was just doing my life and enjoying my life. And I mean, the fact that no one knew what I had for breakfast that morning or what I got up to that weekend or what I was wearing or what my house looked like, that didn't matter and it shouldn't matter. And I was just living life and enjoying life. And slowly, like all of these bonds that technology had over me was starting to sort of come loose a little bit. And one thing that really helped me to make the decision to get off social media, and I'm obviously currently on, but at the moment, but I do kind of have like a different approach to that, and I'll talk to that in a minute, but was watching the documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. If you haven't seen it yet, honestly, dedicate that hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it is, of your time and go watch it. It is hectic, alarming, confronting, and just like super informative as well. So they are not selling you a product, you are the product. So basically all our information is getting sold to different companies for them to market to us, which I think most people were pretty well aware of, like with the fact that, you know, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they all contain ads, sponsorship, stuff like that. So we're in some capacity that we're getting marketed to. And I know for me personally, I'm really trying my absolute hardest to live a more sustainable, consumer conscious life. And when I'm constantly being bombarded with ads and people's lives kind of making mine feel insignificant, it definitely pressured me on a subconscious level to buy things. And I've kind of been going on like a little bit of a no buy / low buy journey during the first half of 2021, and that was primarily as like a little bit of a remedy to the fact that during like September, October, and November during 2020, I was spending a lot, well, in my consideration, a lot, and buying a lot of things online, and that's just not really the life that I want to live. And social media was not helping me in that cause. It was actually hindering me, and it was actually making it harder for me to, yeah, just live the lifestyle that I want to live and to be mindful of my impact on the planet. And during the 5 months that I had been off social media, it was a really great time to be doing a low buy, because I wasn't constantly bombarded with this feeling and this pressure to buy stuff. So it really just created like a healthy habitat for me to just work on myself, shift my mindset about like lots of things, and also just, yeah, start saving, start like implementing habits and practices to be more of a conscious consumer and to be more sustainable in like my daily life and my choices. So then on the 1st of May, 2021, after 5 months of being off social media, I re-downloaded my Instagram app. I still haven't downloaded Pinterest and Facebook onto my phone yet. And I decided that I was going to try being back on social media. And it was kind of like, I felt sort of a little bit conflicted as to whether I should even bother getting back on social media. And the thing that made me decide that I was going to attempt to was that when I first started my YouTube channel, and before that I actually had a blog, and I had my blog for about 2 years before I started doing YouTube. And the whole reason I started my blog, and then the whole reason that I started my YouTube, and the whole reason that I started my Instagram page was that I wanted to share a message of just hope and kindness and joy, and really just living your best life, enjoying every single moment, like slow, simple living, loving the life that you have, the home that you have, taking care of your body, like so many different things, like all the things that I'm passionate about. I really wanted to share that with other people and help ignite their passion and, you know, help other people to make changes in their so for now I am on Instagram, and after having that time to almost disconnect mentally from it, I feel like I'm really approaching it different. I might just go on once or twice a day. I will only look at the photos of people who I actually follow. I won't really pay much attention to like how many likes I've got, whether a picture is doing well or not, more just sort of actually using it as a space to connect with people, which I think is probably what it was originally designed for. And you know, I think with a lot of these different platforms, what they're originally designed for and what they're currently being used for are two completely different things that no one could have predicted. But I am going to use it a little bit more of as a place for inspiration and being able to connect with people on a more meaningful level, rather than like this connection light that we are so used to sort of existing within these days. I definitely encourage you guys to try a social media detox, whether it's 1 day a week without social media or doing 5 months or a couple of months just like I did. I definitely think that is something that we could all benefit from. And don't forget to watch the Social Dilemma doco to open your eyes to all the ins and outs of social media that maybe we're not aware of. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave any comments or questions down below about, I guess, anything extra that you want to know or any other video suggestions. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.